Chapter 50. Victory be unto Sai, who is the mainstay of the Bhaktas, who is our Sadguru, who expounds the meaning of the Gita, and who gives us all powers. O Sai, look favorably on us and bless us all. The sandalwood trees grow on the Malaya mountains and ward off heat. The clouds pour their rainwater and thereby cool and refresh all the people. The flowers blossom in the spring and enable us to worship God therewith. So the stories of Sai Baba come forth in order to give solace and comfort to the listeners. Both those who tell and those who hear the stories of Baba are blessed and holy, as also the mouths of the former and the ears of the latter. It is a well-established fact that though we try hundreds of means or sadhanas, we do not attain the spiritual goal of life unless a Sadguru blesses us with his grace. Hear the following story and illustration of this statement. Kaka Sahib Dixit. Mr. Hari Sitaram, alias Kaka Sahib Dixit, was born in 1864 in Vadnagari Nagar to a Brahmin family. His primary education was done at Khandwa and secondary at Nagpur. He came to Bombay for higher education and studied first at the Wilson College and then at the Elphinstone College. After graduation in 1883, he passed his exam for solicitation and then served in the firm of solicitors. And then after some time started a solicitor's firm of his own. Before 1909, Sai Baba's name was not familiar to Kaka Sahib, but after that he soon becomes his great devotee. While he was staying at Lonavla, he happened to see his old friend, Mr. Nana Sahib Chandokar. Both spent some time in talking about many things. Kaka Sahib described to him how when he was boarding a train in London, he met with an accident in which his foot slipped and was injured. Hundreds of remedies gave him no relief. Nana Sahib then told him that if he wished to get rid of the pain and lameness of his leg, he should go to his Sadguru, Sai Baba. And he gave him all the particulars of Sai Baba and mentioned to him Sai Baba's dictum, which is, I draw to me my man from far off, or even across the 7 seas, like a sparrow with a string fastened to its feet. He also made it clear to him that if he be not Baba's man, he would not be attracted to him and be given darshan. Kaka Sahib was pleased to hear all this, and said to Nana Sahib that he would go to Baba, see him and pray to him, to cure not so much his lame leg, but bring round his lame, fickle mind and give him eternal bliss. Sometime after, Kaka Sahib went to Ahmednagar and stayed with Sardar Kaka Sahib Murikar in connection with securing votes for a seat in the Bombay Legislative Council. Mr. Balasi, son of Kaka Sahib, was a Mamlatar of Kopargaon and also came at that time in connection with a horse exhibition. After the election business was over, Kaka Sahib Dixit wanted to go to Shirdi, and both the father and son were also thinking in their house about a fit and proper person as a guide with whom he should be sent there. There, Sai Baba was arranging things for his reception. Shama got a telegram from his father-in-law at Amnagar stating that his wife was seriously ill and that he should come to see her with his wife. Shama, with Baba's permission, went there and saw his mother-in-law and found her improving and better. Nana Sahib Panchi and Appa Sahib Gatre happened to see Shama on their way to the exhibition, and they took Dixit there to Shirdi along with him. Kaka Sahib Dixit was also informed of Shama's arrival. In the evening, Shama came and was introduced, and they arranged that Shama should leave for Kopakan with Kaka Sahib by the 10 o'clock night train. After this was settled, a curious thing happened. Bala Sahib threw aside the veil or covering on Baba's big portrait and showed the same to Kaka Sahib. He was surprised to see that he, whom he was going to meet at Shirdi, was already there in the form of his portrait to greet him at this juncture. He was much moved and made his prostration before Baba's portrait. This portrait belonged to Megha. The glass over it was broken, and it was sent for repair. The necessary repairs had been already made, and it was decided to return the portrait with Kaka Sahib and Shama. Before 10 o'clock, they went to the station and booked their passage, but when the train arrived, they found that the second class was overcrowded, and then there was no room for them. Fortunately, the guard of the train turned out to be an acquaintance of Kaka Sahib, and he put them in the first class. Thus they traveled comfortably and alighted at Kopakan. Their joy knew no bounds when they saw there Nana Sahib Chandakar, who was also bound for Shirdi. And Kaka Sahib and Nana Sahib embraced each other. And then, after bathing in the sacred Godavari river, they started for Shirdi. After coming there and getting Baba's darshan, Kaka Sahib's mind was melted. His eyes were full of tears, and he was overflowing with joy. Baba said to him that he also was waiting for him and had sent Shama ahead to receive him. Kaka Sahib then passed many happy years in Baba's company. He built a wada in Shirdi, which he made as his, more or less, a permanent home. The experiences he got from Baba are so manifold that it is not possible to relate them all here. The listeners are advised to read a special Sri Sai Leela magazine on Kaka Sahib Dixit, in volume 12, number 6 through 9. We close this account with a mention of one fact only. Baba had comforted him by saying that in the end, he will take him in air coach and secure him a happy death. This came out true, for on the 5th of July in 1926, Kaka Sahib was traveling in a train with Hemadpant and talking about Sai Baba. He seemed deeply engrossed in Sai Baba. All of a sudden, he threw his neck on Hemadpant's shoulder and breathed his last with no trace of pain or uneasiness. We come to the next story, which shows how saints love each other with fraternal affection. Once Sri Vasudevanand Saraswati, also known as Sri Tembi Swami, encamped at Rajamahendri in the Andhra country, on the banks of the Godavari River. He was a devout Orthodox Jnani and Yogi Bhakta of the god Dattatreya. One Mr. Pundalakrao a pleader of Nanded, went to see him with some friends. While they were talking with him, the names of Shirdi and Sai Baba were casually mentioned. Hearing Baba's name, the Swami bowed with his hands, and taking a coconut, gave it to Pundalak Rao and said to him, "Offer this to my brother Sai with my pranam, and request him not to forget me, but ever love me." He also added that the Swamis do not generally bow to others, but in this case an exception had to be made. Mr. Pundalak Rao consented to take the fruit and his message to Baba. The Swami was right in calling Baba a brother, for as he maintained in sacred fire day and night in his orthodox fashion, Baba too kept his sacred fire ever burning in the masjid. After 1 month, Pundalak Rao and others left for Shirdi with the coconut and reached Mammat. And as they felt thirsty, they went to a rivulet for drinking water. As water should not be drunk on an empty stomach, they took out some refreshments, some flattened rice mixed with spice. It was called chivda and tasted pungent. In order to soften it, someone suggested and broke the coconut and mixed its scrapings with it. Thus they made the chivda tasty and palatable. Unfortunately, the fruit broken turned out to be the same that was entrusted to Pundalak Rao. As they neared Shirdi, Pundalak Rao remembered the trust, the coconut, and was very sorry to learn that it was broken and utilized. Fearing and trembling, he came to Shirdi and saw Baba. Baba had already received a wireless message regarding the coconut from the Temji Swami, and himself asked Pundalak Rao first to give the thing sent by his brother. He held fast Baba's feet, confessed his guilt and negligence, repented, and asked for Baba's pardon. He offered to give another fruit as a substitute, but Baba refused to accept it, saying that the worth of that coconut was by far many times more than an ordinary one, and that it could not be replaced by another one. And Baba said to him, "Now you need not worry yourself any more about the matter. It was on account of my wish that the coconut was entrusted to you and ultimately broken on the way. Why should you take the responsibility of the actions on yourself? Do not entertain the sense of doership in doing good, as well as for bad deeds. Be entirely prideless and egoless in all things, and thus your spiritual progress will be rapid." What a beautiful spiritual instruction Baba gave. Mr. Balaram Durandar belonged to the Prabhu community in Bombay. He was an advocate of the Bombay High Court and sometime principal of the government law school. The whole Durandar family was pious and religious. Mr. Balaram served his community and wrote and published an account of it. He then turned his attention to spiritual and religious matters. He studied carefully the Gita and its commentary by Yaneshwari and other philosophical and metaphysical works. He was a devotee of Vithoba of Pandharpur. He came in contact with Sai Baba in 1912. 6 months previous, his brother Babulji and Vama Rao came to Shirdi and took Baba's darshan. They returned home and mentioned their sweet experiences to Balaram and other members. And they all decided to see Sai Baba. Before they came to Shirdi, Baba declared openly that, "Today many of my Darbar people are coming." The Dhurandhar brothers were astonished to hear this remark of Baba from others, as they had not given any previous intimation of their trip. All the other people prostrated themselves before Baba and sat talking to him. And Baba said to them, "These are my Darbar people, to whom I referred before. We are acquainted with each other for the last 60 generations. All the brothers were meek and modest. They stood with joined hands, staring at Baba's feet. All the sattvic emotions, such as tears and choking, moved them, and they were all happy. They went to their lodging, took their meals, and after taking a little rest, again came to the masjid. Balaram sat near Baba, massaging his legs. Baba, who was smoking a chillum, advanced it towards him and beckoned him to smoke it. Balaram was not accustomed to smoking, but still he accepted the pipe, smoked it with great difficulty, and returned it reverentially with a bow. This was the most auspicious moment for Balaram. He was suffering from asthma for 6 years. This smoke completely cured him of the disease, which never troubled him again. Some 6 years later, on a particular day, he again got an attack of asthma. This was precisely the time when Baba took his Maha Samadhi. The day of this visit was a Thursday, and the Dhurandhar brothers had the good fortune of witnessing the Tavadi. Balaram saw the luster of the Pandurang on Baba's face, and the next morning at the Kakad ceremony time, the same phenomena, the same luster of his beloved deity, Pandurang, was visible again on Baba's face. Mr. Balaram Dhurandhar wrote in Marathi the life of the Maharashtra saint Tukaram, but did not survive to see its publication. It was published later on by his brothers in 1928. In a short note on Balaram's life given in the beginning of the book, the above account of Balaram's visit has been fully corroborated. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all.